that you choke, that you choke. Hello, friend, and welcome to another depressing video. It's been a while since I've posted, and there's a lot of reason for that. One of those reasons is that I wanted to first make a video about quitting nicotine and quitting smoking. And well, as you can probably tell, that didn't really happen. But I figured, well, I'm just gonna make a video with the footage I already shot, and instead I'm gonna explain why I didn't quit nicotine yet, and why progress is not always as linear as we hope to be, and why eventually I'm gonna quit. But right now it's more of an update on the whole thing and the whole process. This video will go in depth into addiction and why is it so hard to quit when you're addicted to something. And I also wanted to share like my perspective on all of this, how I'm living with it, and I think that's not often talked about. I mean, addiction as a whole is a pretty taboo subject, so that's why I feel like it's even more important to talk about it. I don't want to make this video to justify my addiction, and I don't want to make this video to glorify smoking. I just want to lay out my thoughts on the subjects, and it's not a factual, it's just an anecdotal statement I'm making, and about how I cope with stress, anxiety, and depression using nicotine, which is not healthy, I know, and I'm working on it. It's part of the whole deal, I feel like. So yeah, I think that it's easy to blame the current state of the world for how mentally unstable I am, but I think there's a lot that can be attributed to myself and the decision I choose. I don't know if you noticed, I'm living with ADHD, and one of the ways that I found to cope with it is through using nicotine, because it's a stimulant, so it helps to do stuff you don't like to do. And in the past, I've tried like ADHD medications like Vyvanse, Befentin, and Concerta. I felt like those made me more of a zombie than anything else, and so I didn't really like them, and I didn't really use them that much. I understand that, like, if you want to be a productive member of society, it would be best that you were a zombie and you would just do what you were told to do. But my issue is that I'm doing it not because I like to do it. I'm doing it because, well, I'm told to do it. I feel like because we live in a society, efficiency is key. That you always have to do more. I mean, for sure, I could take ADHD medications, but I feel like that kind of removes the fun out of living. So I much prefer killing myself slowly and taking nicotine. Yeah. So recently I did an Halloween party at my place, and a question came up, and I wasn't prepared for it. But one of my friends asked when was the last time that I felt normal, which is pretty. It's a pretty strange question, but it's an interesting question because being me is is fun sometimes, but most times it's just a mess. I don't know why. It feels like fighting against a machine that just doesn't want to cooperate. I don't know if you feel like that. That's basically my life. I'm just fighting against myself to do stuff. So my friend asked me when was the last time that I felt normal, and I answered in that the last time I felt normal was I made the video about my relationship. 4 years went bad, and after that I felt some kind of relief, and it was going super well for until I found my job. And there's a good reason for that, and I'm gonna go deeper into it in the next chapter. But part of the reason that it was going so well is that at the time I was smoking cigarettes and taking walks, which is very funny. And at the time I realized that I was like, oh, maybe that's why I was doing so great. And I think that's where I found nicotine. Or it found me. 7 years ago, nicotine first entered my life. It came through my best friend at the time, Kevin. We used to go to the same school, but then a chain of events happened. Messy, tragic, complicated stuff. I won't go too deep into it here because that's a whole other story. But long story short, Kevin ended up switching schools. He made new friends, and with those friends came vaping and weed. One day he pulls out his vape. It's shaped like a guitar pick, kind of futuristic looking at the time. Takes a puff and then hands it over to me. I try it, and honestly, my first thought was, that's it, just a little buzz, some dizziness, nothing too special, honestly. But then came the night. I mixed it with alcohol, and suddenly that tiny buzz wasn't so tiny anymore. It hit different. It amplified everything, and I thought, okay, maybe there's something there. Of course, once I got a taste, I went all in. This is just how I am. I started researching, watching videos, reading forums until I found the best vape, quote unquote. This massive 2-battery beast with a drip tip, mesh coil, and all the bells and whistle. Basically the final boss of vapes. I used it for a while, but I wasn't running high on nicotine, only around 3 milligrams per milliliters, so it didn't fully hook me. After the time, it just made me nauseous, and eventually I got bored and sold it to Sam, a friend that worked with me at the time, for $60. For a while, I just vaped here and there, mostly borrowing from other people, but everything changed once disposable vapes showed up. Breeze, Boosted, those kinds. If you know, you know. They were everywhere. Super easy to get, strong as hell, and very tasty as well. That's when I really started vaping. I'd say around 2021 to 2022, post-COVID. Parties were back, people were going wild, like we were all trying to make up for the year stuck inside. And me, I loved vaping when I was drunk. That combo, it's so good. Pretty soon, I wasn't just bumming puffs anymore. I was buying my own as well. Then 2023 hits, and with it, the ban on high nicotine juices over 20 grams per milliliter, plus the flavor ban on disposables. Suddenly, the whole game changed. That's when I switched to a Caliburn G2, which is honestly the closest thing to a disposable in a refillable form that you can buy. But we now had to start mixing flavor into the juice ourselves. That was a loophole because you couldn't buy juice with flavors anymore. I still find this ban pretty hilarious because I don't think it changed much, but yeah. I stuck with my G2 up until my trip to Japan. And this is where things really took a turn. I've been watching this YouTuber, Jacob fucking Jones, talking about Japanese cigarettes, so I had to try them. My first pack was a Lucky Strike regular, and wow, they were actually pretty good. I still vaped for most of the trip, but towards the end, I ran out of juice, so I grabbed a pack of smokes instead. And that's where it all really began. From there, it snowballed. At first, there were Japanese cigarettes. Then, when I ran out, I bought American ones, then in pouches, and I even went as far as to import Japanese cigarette directly from Japan in Canada and paid a custom fee, which was actually pretty goddamn high. And let me tell you, the Peace Yellows, those things are top tiers. Those are probably like the best cigarette I've taken. And that's how I transitioned from only vaping into smoking. The longest I've managed to quit since then was about a week. but the cravings always drag me back. That sweet temporary relief of nicotine. Okay, so before we talk about cigarettes themselves, there's actually a lot of ways to get your nicotine fix these days, and we're gonna start by talking about those ways. To make it fun, we're gonna do a tier list, which was like popular about a year ago on YouTube, so let's get straight into it now. It's a bad fucking start. Okay, so the first item in our tier list is nicotine gums. And I'd say these are probably C tiers because from my experience with them, they don't get you too buzzed and they don't feel that nice either. Kind of feels like a chemical, feels a bit like a Zyn, but they are like weaker than Zyns. So for that reason, I'll put them in C tiers. It's like if you want to quit, I guess that's good. But if you want your daily dose of nicotine, that's probably not going to cut it. So C tiers for nicotine gums. Next up is Zyns. And Zyns are probably A to B tier. I'm going to put them in B tier. The reason they are in B tier is that they're pretty discreet. You can take them pretty much everywhere. They're even more discreet than vaping. Issue I have with it is that they are pretty unpredictable depending on the amount of nicotine you take in the Zyn. For example, you could take a Zyn with like 12 milligram of nicotine and you get nicotine sickness within like 10 seconds, and it feels pretty bad because it lasts longer than if you were sick with, let's say, a vape. That's why nicotine are B tier, but otherwise they're pretty good. And yeah, nicotine sickness is no fun. It's like getting seasick in your own body. You want to vomit and it feels really unpleasant. Let me tell you that. So next up, we got vapes, and vapes is gonna be like a A tier. The reason why vape is not an S tier is that it's too easy. You can vape pretty much anywhere and everywhere, which makes it a double-edged sword. Like you could vape into interior parties, you go to the toilet, you vape. You can vape at work, just go to the toilet and vape, but it gets too much. You're always using them, so the nicotine doesn't have any effect anymore. You're just vaping to keep up your nicotine level high, but it doesn't have any effect, and so that's why they go into A tier. They're fun, they're customizable, they're like the RGB gaming of of nicotine delivery. And next up, we got the IQOS, or the Eat Not Burn cigarettes. And these will go into B tier, and the reason for that, you would think that maybe they would go between S and A tier because they're kind of a mix between a cigarette and a vape. But honestly, it feels more like a shitty vape than anything else because you don't get any of the flavor and it tastes terrible. It doesn't hit the same. It's a bit harsher than a vape as well. Overall, it doesn't hit the spot. I didn't like them. I tried them in Japan and I wasn't impressed at all. Like normal vapes, or it just tastes better. And then we got the classic, the original sin, the cigarette. The cigarette is S tier. The reason why it's S tier is because, well, it just hits different. You have your ritual. You have cigarettes in the morning, you have cigarettes after work, after you're tired. It just looks cinematic, it looks badass in some way. I think that it's an amazing combination with coffee as well. Cigarettes are S tier. You cannot really get nicotine sickness with them. At least I haven't had nicotine sickness with them. So that would be why I put them in S tier. Every puff of cigarette feels deliberate, earned. It makes you stop for 5 minutes just to get grounded in the present. It's destruction for sure, but it's a romantic destruction. And I hope you enjoyed my tier list. For me, smoking was a way to deal with my busy mind. Sometimes my thoughts move too quickly or they get stuck looping, and it stresses me out. Lighting a cigarette kind of slows everything down. It gives me a moment to breathe, to relax, and then to go do whatever I had to do. The first time you smoke a cigarette, it kind of hurts. The smoke scratches at your throat, burns a little on the way down, and yet there is something satisfying about it. Almost like a punishment you are willingly signing up for. The throat hit makes you cough, but it also makes you feel alive. It's weird how pain and pleasure gets tangled together like that. And then, almost instantly, the nicotine hits. A light rush of euphoria, like your brain just exhaled before you did. The edges of stress blur for a moment, and your body softens into the present. It's not a high, not exactly. More like a reset. A pause button you can press on demand. One drag calm nerves before an exam. It can turn a dull bust stop into a contemplative silence, or just make the world feel slower and kinder for 5 minutes. That chemical relief is what hooks you, long before the ritual or the aesthetic ever matter. Then comes the taste. Personally, I've always preferred cigarettes that lean on the herbal side, the kind of flavor profile that feels closer to a fruity scotch than a sugary cocktail. My all-time favorite is the Peace Yellow from Japan, with its mild but deep taste that feels refined without being pretentious. Here in Canada, the closest equivalent I've found, though honestly it's not the same, is something like the overpriced Du Maurier Signature, or my other go-to, the Player Classics. Their flavor profile is very different, but at the same time, they're pretty much the best you can get. I mean, most cigarettes in Canada taste like cardboard anyway. And it's not just the taste. Smoking is aesthetic. The coal glowing in the dark feels cinematic, like a tiny ember carrying all the weight of the moment. Picture this, someone smoking a cigarette burning in the night. Simple, but it looks like it belongs in a movie still. Even the smell it leaves behind on your fingers, for some reason, I kind of like it. There's also the classic from France, Champion's Breakfast, coffee and cigarettes in the morning. Or you could mix them with a couple of beers to get a similar feeling, but at night. That's the thing, smoking is a ritual. And in the media, it's never just background noise. It's a symbol. Think of Lucy in Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Cigarettes in N, standing above Night City, neon lights bleeding into the sky below. She smokes like someone who already understands how this ends. Not because it's cool, not because it's healthy, but because in a world that chews people up and spits them out, choosing to burn a little brighter feels like a form of freedom. The cigarette isn't glamorous. It's defiant. It's a quiet way of saying, I know the cost and I'm still here.
それって他人の夢じゃん。
他人
Or John Constantine, the chain smoker exorcist who literally gives himself cancer. In the movie, when he tries to end his life and Lucifer comes to collect his soul, what does he do? He lights a cigarette. Imagine staring death in the face and your first instinct is to inhale smoke. That's not addiction, that's defiance. A final middle finger to fate. Smoking has always been about more than nicotine. It's about identity, it's about mood, it's about controlling how you frame a moment. In real life, it might just be you standing on a balcony at 2 a.m. with a player strong. But in your head, you're Lucy from Cyberpunk, sitting in a quiet apartment above Night City, cigarette in hand, talking about the moon. David followed his mom's dream because he cared. Lucy wants the moon because she wants out. The cigarette sits right between those two ideas, caring and wanting freedom. And then there's John Constantine, staring death in the face with a cigarette between his fingers, lighting up even when Lucifer comes to collect him. That's not ignorance, that's defiance. A way of saying, I know how this ends, and I'm still choosing my own moment. That's the strange beauty of it. The cigarette becomes this little glowing coal in the dark. Not a solution, not a cure, just a reminder that even when life feels heavy, you're still here, still breathing, still choosing how to face the night.
Layer 05.
You know what makes you retarded? Instagram Reels. And welcome back to your favorite manic episode. And today we're gonna discuss social networks and how they literally fuck your brain up. I'm not talking like, oh, social networks, they make me sad. I don't have enough likes, type of crap. I'm talking about straight up, full blown psychosis. No, maybe not psychosis, but right now you're maybe wondering, why am I even talking about social networks? I thought this was a video about nicotine and smoking, and you'd be right. But social networks seems to have a bigger impact on how I feel than even nicotine or smoking itself. I realized not too long ago that just mindlessly scrolling reels might not be good for you. It might actually be terrible. It fucks your reward system in your brain. It rewires your brain to just go for the easy dopamine and not try hard at life. Just get your reels and just scroll. You'll be fine. That's not how life works. You cannot just fucking scroll on your phone all day and live on the internet. Well, if you could, that'd be nice. And, well, I watched a show recently, Lane, Serial Experiment Lane. I'm playing it right now. It's an amazing show that talks about how society tries to break the barrier between the internet, which is called the wired, and the real world. And that's interesting because right now, some people are living on the internet. Some people are kind of gods there, and it's very interesting. This video is also going to be on the internet, so don't talk about that. It's all right. When you wake up and all you see are bad news about the current state of the Canada and how the government is fucking incompetent, that's the perfect way to start your day. You're gonna be so fucking happy today when you start the day. And that's what happened to me basically about 2 months ago. My Instagram feed was filled with just this political nonsense that I guess it just pushes to you because it makes you react, and I guess that's fine. The algorithm likes it. But me, it just drops my mental to a state where I'm thinking, yo, the world is ending. What the fuck is going on? And that's not healthy. Half of the other time it's just fucking brain rot shit and useless crap that I'm not even gonna remember. So why am I looking at it? And so it's all good, brain rot and political stuff. Very, very nice. But in reality, what it does is it conditions your brain to just keep scrolling. You'll maybe find that one gem that's gonna be so fucking worth it that you can share to all your friends. It's perfect, it's incredible. The issue I have with that is that it plays a lot on your mood. It also plays a lot on how you see life and how you interact with others. I found myself just being with friends, and what do? I pull out my phone, and what do? I just start looking at reels. That's fantastic. I'm not even living in the real world anymore. I'm living on another planet, on the Instagram planet. That's fantastic. That's part of why I'm so miserable right now. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Although it's not all that bad, I found a solution for that, and the solution is I'm just gonna grab my phone. I've bought a new phone because I cracked my screen on the other one, and like later this year, Google is just gonna straight up stop supporting like side loading APKs, which I find fucking stupid because that's the sole reason I have an Android phone is so I can install whatever the fuck apps I want, and Google won't let me anymore. So I said, all right, fuck it, fuck you, Google. I'm buying your phone, but I'm installing Graphene OS. And the advantage of Graphene OS is that one, it's privacy focused, and second, I can make multiple users. So you see here, I have my home user, and there's no Instagram, there's no social networks on there. But if I go and I switch to my second social user, this one has all the good goodies apps that you would want, which are all social garbage like YouTube, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. This is like social, and I can just switch. I can forget about the notifications because I can switch back like once or twice a day, so I don't have to just worry about those things anymore. And that's perfect. The other thing I did was that actually, it's not new, but I'm using an iPod Classic, and this thing is actually amazing. Right now, it has 12,045 songs on it. It can play like for a week on a modified battery, and this thing is straight up amazing. If I want to just have a distraction-free day where I don't look at my phone, I can just grab this and play some music. But it's fantastic. Honestly, this thing incredible. I'm gonna do a video on it, but yeah, for now this thing works perfectly fine. I'm also a bit pissed right now because it's the third time I'm making this exact video, well, this exact part of the video, because last two times I used this thing, which is my Pentax Q7 with a modified wide angle adapter and some macro lens stuff. It's something, but it worked. It looked good. Anyways, if I film for more than like 5 minutes, it's gonna overeat and just shut down, and it's not gonna save the file. So that's fucking fantastic. It's the third time I'm doing this. I love this so much. I also forgot where if I had anything else to say, so I'm just gonna check my notes. And yeah, you know what? Maybe just ignoring the fact that the world is just crumbling and fucking falling apart, that can be good. A little bit of ignorance, I can trade that for just not having to worry about the economy and stuff like that. That even if I wanted, I cannot change anything. So it's not good to worry about that, because in the end, what can I do? It's not my job to play the economy. So yeah, also I learned that boredom is actually good for your brain, and you should be bored, because if you're not bored, your brain just goes into fucking always thinking, and then you're not happy. You're just like always tired. Anyways, boredom is good. I started doing meditation. I stopped doing meditation because, well, I'm not consistent with anything I'm doing, but that's another story. And yeah, I watch ASMR to sleep. That's pretty fucking pathetic, if you ask me. But hey, it works, so that's great. And this video was about smoking. I don't know why I'm saying all this. This was just like my little rant on the whole fucking social network stuff and how it's literally destroying your brains. I'm sorry. Yeah, other thing I found was that if I keep a notebook and just write down my thoughts, I wouldn't be thinking about them all the time, and it would help me just focus on what's going on in the present. So I started doing that as well, but I stopped because I'm not consistent at anything, and I should be doing that, but I'm not. And well, I am gonna start doing it, but I'm gonna stop, and yeah, it's fantastic. I fucking love it. I think that we can all agree that social networks are probably like the worst fucking shit that ever happened. We're supposed to be connected somehow, and in the real world, I feel like we're even more disconnected than we ever were before that, and it's hard to have like a real social interaction on them. And don't even get me started on fucking dating apps. Those are, man, I'm fucking done with. It's not that I'm not having matches. I have like 75 matches. The problem is that there's so many fucking options, and you start just cherry picking stuff, and you start just being an asshole, and you cannot answer to everybody. So it feels fucking terrible. You're just there and you're like, oh, maybe I'm the problem. Well, probably I'm the problem. But at the same time, I feel like we're all the problem, and there's probably something we can do about all this shit. That's pretty much it. This is the part where quitting stops being about nicotine and starts being about everything else. I used to think that the problem was nicotine and that I could just quit and everything would fall back into place. But after trying, really trying, I realized that nicotine wasn't the root of my issue. There was something deeper. Nicotine was just holding everything together. I care now. That's the difference. Last year, when I had nothing to lose, I felt free. I drifted, I smoked, I enjoyed the moment. There was no expectations, no version of myself that I felt I had to become, no pressure. It was just freedom. The issue about caring is that when you care, all that freedom goes away. You start to stress about things, you start to feel things because you actually care. When you start caring about the future and trying to do better, every choice feels heavier, every decision loaded. You don't live in the present moment because you live to become something greater. And that pressure keeps adding up, and every day feels like a test you didn't study for. The problem is that I know what I could achieve. And too many things actually, which sounds great on paper, but in reality, it's paralyzing. I have so many options, so many choices that it's hard to pick one and say like, hey, that's the right one. I could go back to school. I could continue working at my job right now. I could try to make YouTube videos, which I'm doing right now. I could do photography. I could do a lot of stuff, and that's the issue. When you have too much, that you can do. It's hard to focus on only one thing. And with ADHD, it's even harder. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I want to work on project that really means something to me. And I feel like in our reality, that's kind of hard, working on something you love. I love doing this. I don't know if this could be a job eventually. I hope so, but right now I love doing that. It's something I like. I don't know where to start, and I feel like I lost a lot of energy in the past year because of a 9 to 5, which is it's great. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's so repetitive that it kind of eats away at you at some point. It's not very enjoyable. I need to do something more creative, more like real. And I'm not saying the job isn't real in case my boss are watching this. All I'm saying is that I can do better, and what I'm doing right now, I could do better. And I feel like it's kind of unfair that I'm basically like doing a machine's job instead of a machine. And I understand that like it costs less than economics of things, but I would be better doing something more creative, more engaging. Right now I'm in vacation, which helps. Before the vacation, I was so tired. That's when I realized that maybe this wasn't the right thing to do. And the thing is that when I use nicotine, it's like something I'm looking forward to. When I have my breaks, I light up a cigarette. It's nice, it really feels nice. I'm looking forward to the next cigarette, and that gets me through my days. And yeah, I try to get through the day, and then the next day, and then the next day, just looking forward to the weekend so I can finally relax. And it's not some kind of tired like I need to sleep. It's some kind of tired like everything feels heavier and every action becomes more of a task than anything else. It feels harder to just exist. Sometimes like my vision even gets worse because I'm so tired. My brain is like it's not functioning normally. It's not fun. I mean, nicotine helps with that. Without it, it gets even worse because I'm all over the place. You're constantly fighting yourself to do basic things, and quietly, but surely, depression creeps in. Not just tiredness, depression. Nicotine, for the better or for the worse, helps with that. It helped me function when my brain feels stuck in neutral. And that's the scary part, is that nicotine actually works to some extent. I mean, it helps me get through my day and stop worrying for about a few minutes. I hate the irony of it all. Like I'm feeling older, like I have less energy, and at the same time I'm smoking so that I can feel better about myself and do things I should enjoy doing. It's kind of ironic. I've always been scared of that, and now I'm literally smoking my life away. Yeah, I mean, the alternatives are not that great either. I'm not gonna lie. ADHD medication, it's not living. You're just, you're basically just a robot, and you're always on edge. Like everything will make you tilt for no reason, and you're super stressed. You're even more stressed than if you were not taking it. So that's even worse. I don't know if it's ADHD, anxiety, being too self-aware, just being human, but in this world that doesn't slow down, all I know is that something is holding me back. Not a lack of desire, not a lack of intelligence, but a lack of alignment. I'm not aligned with where I should be right now, and that feels absolutely terrible. I want to help in my own way. I want to do something meaningful with my life. I want to create, and I want to share what it's like to live. The good parts, but also the bad parts. The parts that people don't talk about. Like this is the part that people don't talk about. I want to do better. I want to make something meaningful. This isn't me giving up on quitting. This is me admitting that quitting isn't as linear as we think. Sometimes the cigarettes aren't the enemy. It's a signal, a sign that something deeper needs attention. I'm still trying. I'm doing the best I can. And for now, that has to be enough. So yeah, we say that quitting nicotine is hard because of the withdrawals, but let me just try to explain to you what the withdrawals feels like and how difficult they are to break free from. And so for me, the nicotine withdrawals, the first symptoms are a craving. And craving that feels like thirst or hunger, but for nicotine. It's kind of weird. It's like your body is requesting it. Like it's some kind of food. It feels like there's an empty spot in your chest that wants like specifically nicotine. That's kind of funny in itself. Then there's the mental part. You're basically in a mental fog and everything feels a bit weird around you. You have difficulty concentrating. You feel like a slight dizziness and things feels unreal. It's kind of weird to describe that feeling, but it feels like you're watching your life behind a TV screen or behind a window. You're there, but you're not there entirely. You feel disconnected. It feels like you're not in sync with your own body, which is a weird sensation. And yeah, then comes the irritability part, and everything feels like a personal attack. You feel like shit. You sleep like shit. And your brain just constantly reminds you like how insane it would be to just take that one puff. That one puff that would make everything back to normal again. And you have to resist that urge. You have to resist that urge of just taking that one last hit. And you do it all over again. And then when you finally break and take that hit, you're back to yourself again, and everything comes back to normal. The anxiety drops, the haze melts, you're back in your own body. It's honestly crazy how things flips and how you can be yourself again. So I guess what I'm trying to say with all of this is that this is not the end. This is just an update on how everything is going, and it's actually going pretty bad. Just kidding. It's not going that bad. It's just I need to figure some shit out again, and I guess we'll find something out and make it work like we always do. I'm not doing that bad right now. I'm doing pretty good, not great. I'm doing all right, I guess. I really had to finish this video before I'm starting anything else, and I've already started other projects, but I wanted to finish this one before I started editing, like really making other stuff, and that worked out pretty bad. But I guess the good thing is that I'm back at making videos now, and I also have energy to make them, which is pretty good. This, like I said, is not the conclusion. There will be a part 2, and it's not because I planned it that way. It's because it's gonna happen someday. My friend Jay at work said to me that, well, there's a 100% chance if you quit 13 times that the 13th time will be the one and you'll be able to stop smoking. So I hope he's right. Well, I'm not gonna try quitting anytime soon until I figure some things out and just make some changes with my life. You might think I'm a loser for making this video and I'm retarded, which fair enough. I probably am, and I'm working on that, so thank you very much. No, for real, just don't hate, no hate, no hate. If you're thinking about smoking after seeing this video, I mean, just please don't. Do yourself a favor and don't start smoking. This video is for people that are interested in the subject or are already smoking themselves. My plan was not to make other people smoke. That was never the plan, and so don't smoke. It's not good for you. And it might work for me, but that doesn't mean that it works for you, and so please don't. I hope you guys still enjoy the video, even though it's a bit fucked. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what it is, honestly. Next one is probably gonna be more digestible than this one. Yeah, that's a dookie. I tried though, like I tried, and yeah, I guess this is it. This is my masterpiece. The video that took 1 year to make. It's finally done. I can move on to other projects now. Yeah. This is gonna take a while to edit, but after that, it's pretty much it. I have other video on the working about like the iPod and stuff. That's gonna be interesting. In the meantime, I don't think you should be worried about me. I'm doing alright, and I don't think I will die of a cancer soon. At least my grandpa didn't, and he smoked a pack per day, so I guess that's good. I guess that's a wrap, and that's it for today. And don't start smoking. I'm telling you.
And you don't seem to understand. A shame you seem to